What's up everybody, Anime X here, and today I'll be doing another versus battle on two of the most broken characters in Dragon Ball Super. And as the title and thumbnail suggests, it'll be Hit versus Goku Black. And as always, links to my social media will be in the description below. This is where I'll be releasing any relevant information pertaining to the channel, such as schedule changes, video topic polls, and things like that. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, for the first time that we see Hit, it is him demolishing Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, and being on par with Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 10 Goku in the anime, or being able to handle a full power Super Saiyan Blue Goku in the manga. In either versions of the story, Hit's power remains fairly the same, due to the slight different explanations of power scaling and these different adaptations. This isn't really important to scaling his power. His more important showings is in his fight against Jiren, or maybe even in his fight against Goku for the second time. In which he objectively does better than Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20 Goku. Granted, this is due to hacks, but he still does better nonetheless. So this will put him vaguely around Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20 level Goku, because he was able to fight Jiren, and Jiren was able to just demolish Goku at this stage. This is at least 10 times more powerful than the Goku that was able to damage Merge Zamasu, which adds a few more which adds more in Hit's favor. And in addition to being able to grow stronger as the fight progresses, Hit has a lot backing up in this fight. And after saying all this, I think it's time to go over Hit's arsenal of attacks, because he does have quite a few. Alright, so I've done a segment quite similar to this in my Sasuke vs. Killua video, which you should go check out after this one. But for those of you that haven't watched it yet, it is basically where I describe the opponent's abilities and techniques that aren't directly related to the power of that character, and that I don't include when scaling them. Now, Hit has many separate abilities having to do with time and space and dimensions. So, the first and most used technique of Hit's would probably be the time skip technique, which he uses to skip forward in time up to half a second as it's shown in the anime. And it allows him to, as I said, skip forward in time and make his opponent appear frozen and get in multiple hits, counterattacks, and just counters in general. He can counter and attack his enemies without much resistance, unless the characters that he's fighting are similar or stronger than him in power. By storing up his time skip, he's able to access his own dimension separate from the one that all the other DBZ characters operate in, allowing him to appear like he's in the normal dimension, while in actuality he is intangible. Another one of Hit's time-related abilities is unofficially called the Cage of Time, where Hit uses all of his time-skipping abilities to bind his enemy in time. Actually the opposite of his regular time-skip ability, which is to skip forward. And it is shown to work on enemies much stronger than him, if only for a very small amount of time, because it worked against Jiren, who was obviously, in terms of raw power, way more powerful, even in his suppressed state, than Hit was. Now that I've gone over his time-related abilities, I'm going to talk about the very few amount of moves that he doesn't have that are related to time. So the first one being his after image-like technique, that is actually way more advanced than the one shown by anyone else in the series, because he leaves traces of his energy behind, so that he can, so that an enemy cannot pinpoint him. And this is shown to be effective enough to trick Goku multiple times with this. And he also has the ability to send a very powerful punch through the air, so powerful that it was able to crush Super Saiyan Blue Goku's heart. And granted, he wasn't on guard, but he still was able to almost kill Goku. In fact, he did technically kill Goku. He was just revived by one of the ki blasts he shot into the air. Now, finally, his arguably most useful ability is his ability to adapt as he fights, similarly to Goku Black. And speaking of Goku Black, I think it's time to power scale the Kai in a Saiyan's body. Alright, so some of Goku Black's feats include demolishing Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta multiple times and even at the same time, and spamming clones from an alternate dimension that don't die and that are relative to Goku and Vegeta in power. That also nullifies some of Goku's powering up abilities. Goku's Black power scaling is honestly very simple in his arc, and honestly, I don't know how, but some people have had misconceptions on this. Like, Laughingstock Media had this misconception that Super Saiyan Rose's multiplier was a 1.2 to 2 times multiplier, which is wrong for multiple reasons. One being the Kuratoriyama stated that it was a Super Saiyan but for Goku Black. But I guess Seth, the programmer, already debunked this, so this is kind of old news. But based on who he's fighting, most of the scaling of Goku Black is going to have to be in the fighting segment of this video. So I'm just going to move on to explaining Goku Black's moveset. Many of Goku Black's abilities end up being similar to Goku's, as you may expect. He has the Black Kamehameha and a super version of that, just like Goku. He also has instant transmission, similarly to Goku, and he also has Zenkai boost, like all Saiyans. But Goku Black actually takes it to another level by adapting much quicker while he fights and without having to take too much damage. And he just skyrockets way past the person that he was just fighting. And most of, if not all of his other abilities involve using Keyblades in many shapes and sizes, like his Divine Lasso, which he uses to slice up and slash up his enemies, leaving multiple Keyblades piercing them and then detonating them. He also has the ability to use a key size to open a rift into a dimension that, as he states, even he doesn't know how powerful and to what extent he can do this. And he can make clones that are relative to Super Saiyan Blue, Goku, and Vegeta in a fight, and they don't die permanently, they just reform right after being destroyed, making them pretty difficult to stop. And now I think it's finally time to get on to how I see this fight playing out, because I think it will get very, very interesting. Alright, so this fight ends up coming down to a few situational things. First one being intel. If Goku Black knew about Hit, which he feasibly would, because he was able to watch Hit's fight with Goku in the Universal Tournament, and it also comes down to their character, because in the beginning of this fight, Hit would be able to kill Goku Black fairly quickly like he did to Goku, and because Hit is an assassin and his character to do something like this, Hit could, this could be a feasible way for him to win. If Hit didn't end the fight extremely quickly, Goku Black would be able to catch up in power and actually surpass him in a very easy manner, and he would have clones to back him up. So basically, if Hit isn't on his assassination mission, right, then he one or two shots Goku with just his Phantom Fist, as Universe 2 calls it, which is basically that long-range punch. But if they fight in, say, a tournament setting, or Hit doesn't try to assassinate Goku Black very quickly, or he tries to, he kind of uses the martial arts, like the regular fighter in him, he just wants to enjoy the fight, then eventually he would get overwhelmed and his time skip wouldn't have any effect on him anymore, limiting his abilities and his versatility, giving him quite a bit of trouble, and maybe giving him a much harder time dealing with Goku Black. And if Goku Black ripped open a hole in their normal dimension and disrupts Hit's ki similarly to how he did to Goku, and makes clones on top of that, Hit loses. But there is a lot of mental gymnastics you have to do to get to this point. So I would say that 6 out of 10 to 7 out of 10 times Hit would win, just based on his character and how he has assassination techniques that he can use on opponents that are equal or in power to him. And Goku Black at this point in time just would be slightly weaker, but he would be able to catch up over time. So yeah, 7 out of 10 times Hit would win. The other times being Goku Black winning in the way I described before. So it's time to kind of close this video out. So if you guys liked the video and want to get more content like this, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you're alerted to all of my videos. And make sure to follow me on social media. This week I'll be doing some polls for some video topics and ideas. And as always, guys, this is Anime X signing off. You are my friend. You are my dream. 始まったばっか君らは